What's up, risk managers? My name is Nasdaq Anonymous, and I'm addicted to the NQ. And boy, is she one hell of a drug. And welcome to today's NA meeting, where we'll discuss the economic data for the week, the day's technical analysis, the trading opportunities that we took on today's stream, and build a game plan for tomorrow's price action. And if you haven't done so already, you can show your support by subscribing to the channel. And with that said, let's jump into the charts now. This is tomorrow's data. Be mindful that all times are in Central Time. And we have a big block of news scheduled for tomorrow, so let's jump into it. At 7:30, we have the Producer Price Index. At 8:10, we have Fed Cook speaking. At 9 o'clock, we have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking. At 10:30, we have the 52-week bill auction. And at 3:30, we have some crude news. Now, it's never recommended to trade during a major news release, but if you choose to trade during this unpredictable price action, then understand you're playing a game of chance with your trading account. And now that we know what to expect, let's jump into the charts and create a game plan for tomorrow's price action. This is the block of price action that we traded during today's stream, and today was definitely a range day. But that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Tomorrow, we have inflation data being released, and we also have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking at 10 o'clock Central Time. Now, usually, the CPI is actually released on Tuesday, and then after we get the CPI, that's when we get the PPI. But this week, they're releasing the PPI before the CPI, which, like I stated before, usually doesn't happen. On top of this irregular news release schedule, we have Jerome Powell speaking after this news release, which has me suspicious. Even though today traded basically in a big range, price did rotate back and forth around this range until the end of the session. Now, overall, the market is definitely bullish. We had a week full of low volume pumps that turned into an unstoppable bull run until Friday, where we had our first drop. Price opened, and after we got a retest of that high, price began to rotate lower. And you can see after we got a retest of this supply area right here, price dropped down, but was immediately bought up by the bulls. So this tells me that the bulls are still willing to buy this market. And it's going to really take some bad news for the price to begin to rotate lower. Overnight, I wouldn't be surprised if price continued to trade in this tight range, maybe a breakout here and there, but ultimately trading in a defined range, waiting until we get that PPI release at 7:30 Central Time in the morning. And once we get that data, in my opinion, I do believe that is more likely for price to trade lower than higher. I would find it hard to believe that anybody will put money in this market before hearing what Fed Chair Jerome Powell has to say. So we're just gonna have to wait for more data. And with that said, let's jump into an ES chart. This is an ES chart, and this is the block of price action that we traded during today's stream. And just like the NQ, price traded higher at the open, retesting Friday's high, and the bears coming in with full force, pushing price down. But unlike the NQ, price didn't rotate around this range. Price trended down almost until the bulls found support here in this support area and pushed price higher until the end of the session. And based on this structure, it looks like the bears have at least one more leg down to try to make an attempt to at least retest this low and possibly break it. But just like the NQ, my money is that we basically trade in this range until the inflation data at 7:30 is released. Also, we did have the New York Fed release some inflation data earlier today. Let's actually go over that now. Here are the statements made by the New York Fed this morning. Expected inflation for April next year is projected to be 3.3%, up from March's 3%. Expected inflation for April in 3 years is projected to be 2.8%, down from March's 2.9%. April's expected inflation rate for 5 years ahead is at 2.8%, up from March's rate of 2.6%. And finally, respondents see higher future prices for food, rent, medical, and gas, which no one shouldn't have to tell you that. We can see that in everyday life. And with that said, let's jump back into the charts. With last week's bullish run up, the bulls irrationally traded price higher. With all the bullishness that we saw last week, trading this market was definitely challenging. And going back to what I said earlier in the video, because PPI is being released before CPI, I believe that the market is going to react more with PPI than CPI. That's my current bias going into tomorrow. Because usually when this happens, We don't get irrational reactions on both data releases. And usually the market reacts to one or the other. So depending on the reaction that we get from tomorrow's release, it will kind of give me an idea how the market will react to the CPI release. Because once Jerome Powell gets done speaking and the market takes in what he states, I believe that's going to have more of an effect than any other data release, because it's going to be Jerome Powell that's going to be making the decisions to cut rates, not a report. And with that said, let's go over some market clues for tomorrow. Price rejected around Friday's highs on both instruments. Again, today was definitely a low volume day. We have inflation data being released tomorrow at 7:30, but after this inflation data is released, we have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking at 10 o'clock. And I would definitely treat this as if this is an FOMC meeting. The market will still react based on what Jerome Powell says and what he doesn't say. And I think the doesn't say part is definitely something to keep in mind. If he doesn't specify something that he states, we've seen in the past that the market will take what he states and run with it. So just be mindful of that. And with that said, that's all I have. And if you're enjoying these breakdowns and want insight on trading the Nasdaq and ES intraday, then subscribe to the channel and join our live stream where me and my trading partner provides intraday analysis in real time. Our current goal is building a community. And if you're tired of missing the best trades on the Nasdaq and ES intraday, then join the live stream, join the Discord, join the risk managers in the chat, and we appreciate your support as we grow. As we wrap up, remember the risk manager's creed. Trading involves risk and demands careful analysis and capital preservation. And we can do that by practicing sound risk management. Every trade tells a story. Make sure you write that story in your trading journal, because our psychology is all over these charts. And as always, my name is Nasdaq Anonymous, and I'm addicted to the NQ. Stay green out there. Peace.